Welcome to the Cabral Concept. I'm Stephen Cabral, board-certified naturopathic doctor. When I was 17 years old, I got extremely sick. I woke up one morning, the lymph nodes in my neck were the size of golf balls. I had difficulty swallowing, difficulty breathing, and my entire body ached. I had a fever. I had a really difficult time that morning, even just making it downstairs to tell my mother how sick I was. I ended up staying home from school that day, but I never ended up recovering. Over the next few days, I seemed to get worse. My mother took me to the doctor. They ran my blood work. Everything looked normal. The best they could say is I possibly had Epstein-Barr virus. But there was something seriously wrong with me. They just couldn't tell what. Over the next few weeks, all of my joints began to ache. The flu-like symptoms continued. The swelling of my lymph nodes moved through my entire body. My armpits were swollen. My groin lymph nodes were swollen. My entire body was shutting down. I woke up every morning with a coating on my tongue. My eyes were swollen shut. They were all crusted together. And I ended up having this incredible thirst. I got tested for type 2 diabetes. I was pre-diabetic. I couldn't regulate my blood sugar level any longer. I also did a cortisol stim test to look at my adrenal gland function. My cortisol levels were no longer functioning. I could not produce cortisol, the fight or flight based response, to respond to the stress that I had been under in my body. I had what's called early stages of Addison's disease. But again, all of these treated with medications, I still was not improving. I would go through kind of ups and downs, major relapses every few months. I had to leave school for a period of weeks and then months, and I was really worried because this was my senior year in high school. I didn't know if I was going to be able to graduate on time. I always did well in school. I enjoyed school. I played sports, and I had to give up a lot of things that I really loved. I couldn't play sports anymore that year. I didn't do as well in school because, to be honest, I couldn't think clearly. I had really difficulty reading. I couldn't concentrate on any of the words in the book. My body was so exhausted, my mind was so exhausted, they had zero energy. The best I could do was go to school. I would actually suffer hot flashes all during class. I would just start to pour sweat. I would leave school, I would go right home and just try to get some rest. What precipitated this was when I was 14 years old, about going on 15, I was brought to the dermatologist, kind of an older school dermatologist. I had a little minor acne. These are all normal things that probably a lot of 14, 15-year-old boys go through, where testosterone levels are rising, they're playing sports, they're, maybe not washing their face like they should, and they're also eating a very poor diet. I was eating a lot of sugar. My diet was terrible, to be honest with you. My dermatologist put me on 3 years worth of antibiotic. I was on antibiotics twice a day, amoxicillin, in the morning and at night. All of this led to an eventual erosion of my immune system, wiping out of all of my gut flora, and eventually triggered this along with all of the stress of my life, being a senior in high school, taking SATs, deciding on which college, leaving family and friends, all of those things. The perfect storm. Well, coming back to when I was 17, my entire body was shutting down. I ended up with what looked like early stage rheumatoid arthritis. My elbows hurt, my fingers hurt. Again, brain fog, fibromyalgia, adrenal fatigue, adrenal exhaustion, chronic fatigue disorder, where my immune system could no longer regulate itself. All of these things adding up to someone whose body was just completely wiped out. I was brought to some of the best specialists in Boston, literally chief of staff at hospitals, and the best they could say is, there's nothing we can do right now for your son. We just have to wait to see if it progresses to a greater disease. One of the worst things a young kid can hear is that there's really no hope. I've never been one to quit, but it was very disheartening to hear that I may never get better and this might be my life, suffering from the ups and downs of really chronic disease. So what happened next was, after a period of really months and over a year of suffering, my mother sought out what other treatments can we find. And both my parents were very, very supportive. The problem is, how supportive can you be for so long when you just see your son suffering for so long as well, waking up every day, not really being able to get out of bed, having difficulty even just walking up a single flight of stairs. I would walk up 3 or 4 stairs and have to sit down. A lot of times I would get to the top of that flight of stairs. I remember that in my house very, very vividly, and every time I go back, it kind of triggers that memory. I would actually have to lie down at the top of the stairs. There was maybe only 8 stairs to the first landing and then another 5 stairs. And I remember myself very vividly lying down at the top of the stairs with my heart rate pounding through my chest and just having to rest for a minute or 5 minutes as I listened to my heart rate literally beat out of my chest. It was a really depressing, really down time in my life. The good news is that I did end up finding what we'll call an alternative health practitioner. I hate that word. I really believe that there is no alternative to alternative health because it is the only thing that treats the underlying root causes. Is there a time and place for conventional medicine? Absolutely. They're fantastic at treating acute disease, the best lab test in the world imaginable, and if you're having a heart attack or anything like that, there's an emergency medicine, you need to use that. But when it comes to chronic disease, when it comes to looking at the underlying root causes, there are no deeper level tests for that. That is what functional medicine, naturopathic medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, all the other types of medicine are here for. Well, I was lucky enough to find one of those practitioners in Cambridge, Massachusetts, just outside of Boston. I lived in Medford, Massachusetts at the time. And the practitioner was amazing. He was a doctor who did his education overseas. He was just exposed to more. He was an MD, but he was also an acupuncturist and he studied natural medicine. He taught me about the underlying root causes of why I got to this point, of my poor nutrition, my poor lifestyle, working too much, studying too much, all of these things that led to my exhaustion, of course, being on too many antibiotics for just too long. I took his advice. I started to change my lifestyle. Little by little, I got a little healthier. I relapsed, yes, but I got a little healthier and a little healthier. And I developed this insatiable appetite for figuring out the human body and how it worked. From there, even during my college years, studying so much, I read hundreds and hundreds of books in college. Now I've gone on to read thousands of books in natural health and medicine. And it is insatiable. It's such an amazing field because you cannot get to the other side of that rainbow. There is no other side. There's just so many books from so many intelligent people, and there is no end for me in sight. Today I can fully tell you that I have figured it out for myself. I have listened to so many mentors, been to so many seminars, and have so many people that I'm grateful for teaching me. But what I can tell you is this, I have never felt better in my life, and I want to share that with you today. I have more energy than I've ever had. Going from a kid who couldn't walk up a flight of stairs to now being someone that doesn't need the alarm clock to wake up. It's an amazing feeling, and I get to share that in my Boston practice with so many people. But the issue is, just like most doctors, you only get to see so many people per day, and that's unfortunate. So my goal is, how can I share this now with the world? And I did make that pledge. Once our practice got to the point that we wanted to, and we're literally, we have a waiting list now for the amount of people that I hope to be able to care for one day. But now, how can I give back? How can I give more to people? And really what's been on my mind is, how can I create something that I can get out to millions of people? I've read so many books, and there's so many amazing authors and so many amazing teachers and healers that how can I share their work with you as well as my own? And the other nice thing is there's such a huge difference between reading a book and a PhD or research-based person. Again, we need all of those things, and I read that. But it's amazing to hear from someone, I think, in clinical practice. I do this every day. I work with real people just like you, and I want to share their stories with you. I want to share their case studies. I want to tell you how they recovered from adrenal exhaustion, autoimmune disease, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, Crohn's, colitis, IBS, eczema, psoriasis, you name it. I've worked with every single one of those people. I work with infants to all the way through my, the oldest person I care for is about 88 years old. And it's such an amazing and rewarding job. Yes, it is long hours. Yes, it is long days, but I wouldn't trade it for the world because it's my way of giving back for what I was fortunate enough to learn. And to be honest, when I was a young kid in the waiting room at that natural health practitioner's office, I said, wouldn't it be amazing one day to be able to open up a practice like this? It still touches me to this day to even think about that. It's really a dream come true. And of course, I wouldn't even be here today if it wasn't for all the people that have helped me to get here, all the teachers, all the virtual mentors from all the books that I have read, and I will absolutely share their advice with you as well. So it's an amazing journey, and if you're not where you want to be, I want you to understand one concept, and it's this. This is the Cabral concept if we boil it down, and that's this. If you can find a way to change your body, I truly believe it can change your life. And you have to start with your body. It's the one thing that you really can control. It's your body. There's no outside influences necessarily. You can't control other people. You can't control your work necessarily. You can't control the weather. But you can control your body. If you figure out the underlying root causes to what you're suffering from, and you go about to rebalance those issues, because again, everything has a check and a balance in your body. Negative and positive feedback loops. It's like a teeter-totter. If we can find out which side is pushing down too hard, which side is too light, and we can rebalance that. I'm telling you right now, you can change your body, and if you can change your body, I truly believe you can change your life. I had to do that for myself. I had a poor mindset, poor outlook on life, and it's because my body was a wreck. It wasn't where I wanted it to be. I felt terrible. When I started to feel better about myself, of course my self-image changed. I got more confident. I believed I could do more. I wanted to achieve more, and that's what I believe people are missing right now. Change your body, change your life. I look forward to speaking with you more about all of these topics.